going to teach you all about the plants and animals that we see, and you're also going to learn why the zoo is here. In short, this zoo is here to make all life thrive. And I think you're going to have fun with me on this Saturday, because I can be a bit of a goofball, and a wingnut, and a knucklehead McSpazatron. So get your eyes to the left or to the right. You're likely to see a human being here at our zoo. Yeah, that's the most important animal that we have, helping us with our conservation goals. Now, I just rolled the bus up onto Front Street here. This is the entrance and exit of the zoo. Some people will call this Flamingo Plaza. But up on Front Street, don't forget all the wonderful things that happen here. Up in front of my bus is a Wildlife Explorers Base Camp. That's hands-on activities for zoo explorers of all ages. The blue buckets going up and down there, well, they'll start at 10 o'clock today. That's Skyfari. Unlimited rides on our gondola here at the zoo today for everybody. They'll keep running as long as the zoo is open. And don't forget, we've got a reptile house and a reptile walk up here on Front Street. There's so many things you're going to cross off your bucket list today at the San Diego Zoo, but you might find them on Front Street. All right, folks, I'm about to head down the Tiger River Road. If you're feeling it, go ahead and throw your hands in the air like you just don't care. All right, let me give you the rules of the road on the bus. Everyone's going to need to stay seated at all times when this bus is in motion. Now, there'll be maybe a time or two when I pull my bus next to a habitat. I'll slow the bus down, or I'll stop the bus, and that's when you can stand up and improve your view. But always keep a handle on the back of a chair or on a railing. So if a bus ever does happen to move, you will be safe. At no time should anyone ever stand up on our seats. And I'm going to ask you to please keep your heads, hands, feet, tails, toes, trunks, tentacles, antlers, and antenna. Please keep those inside the bus for your safety. If you didn't know, our zoo here in Balboa Park, in addition to being a world-class zoo, we are an award-winning botanical garden. So as you're checking out the plants, or check out the animals, check out the plants. But please don't damage any of our plants. We are a botanic garden. Now, we do have a canopy up above us right now and some really large leaves in the understory. That would make this a rainforest habitat. We've got 8 conservation hubs all around the earth. We work with our horticulture team to learn about the animals that we might bring here to the zoo and improve on the habitat, make it ideal. So for this first stop on our tour, this represents the Asian rainforest. This is the habitat of the Malayan tiger. All right, get your eyes to the right-hand side of the bus. We're looking for an orange cat with black stripes. Your view's often better than mine. Now, the black stripes on the cat have been blended into its environment, and the joke on our bus is if it didn't have stripes, it would easily be spotted. Well, if you're seeing it, I don't see it myself. Might be down low. This is Malayan tiger for the Malay Peninsula South Asia. It's an endangered species. So here at the zoo, it has something called a species survival plan. It's like online dating for zoo animals. Match.com.zoo type thing. Because once one of these big cats is ready for reproduction, we're going to trade it out with another zoo that also has Malayan tiger. I'll pull my bus up in a second for the folks in the back. And we here at the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, well, we are a conservation organization. Conservation is a concept where we know that we humans are going to make use of the land for our homes and for our food, but we want to make sure some of that land is set aside for plants and animals, for their homes and their food. I guess we call that habitat. Here at the zoo, we have a lot of small habitats that require a lot of human maintenance. The animals inside, well, they're simply ambassadors for their kind, showing us what we would lose if we didn't follow through with conservation. But the goal of conservation is to have these animals living in their wild habitat. And that would be outside of the zoo. You know, the full taxonomic name of the hippo is hippopotamus amphibious. Well, they are amphibious because they spend time in and out of the water. And we can watch that transition through the thick glass of our hippo habitat. But we're in luck. The hippos are on the beach, out of the water. But you can tell you some other stories about these animals. First of all, if you heard, this is one of the most dangerous animals on the earth. The reason it's dangerous is that hippo will simply trample you with very little provocation. You don't want to get too close to an angry hippo.
You see
Now,
it?
the story I like to tell, because we can see the hippos up on the beach there, I'll tell you the story we tell the second graders on their tour. You see the big snout tail of the hippo? Well, that's actually a manure spreader. When the poo comes up the tail, it sends the poo to all corners of the water hole. And what it's sending is also the seeds that it's been eating. So it's kind of an agricultural engineer, the way it spreads the seeds all around. Yes, indeed. Another thing about that animal is when it's in the hot sun, it produces something called blood sweat. Now, it's not literally a combination of blood and sweat, but what it is, it's a secretion that's very much like a sunscreen when they're out of the water. But they don't need it when they're underwater, and that's where we find them most of the time. The hippos. Now, if you didn't know, we've got a zoo here in Balboa Park for a little over 100 years. You can imagine some of those first zoo exhibits, they weren't much more than a box with bars in front. We throw an animal inside so that we humans could get up close and get a closer look. Well, we don't have exhibits at the zoo anymore, that's old school. What we have now are called habitats. So this next habitat is for the swamp monkeys and red-tailed monkeys. Now when you look in there, you're going to see ropes and swings for these animals to play with. It turns out play is part of normal animal behavior. Yeah, we humans play, and so will animals. A predator animal wants to play a game like tag and figure out if they're the fastest one in their bunch. And a prey animal is going to play something like hide and seek. They'll learn how camouflage works. But they do that with family and friends before they do it for real. So it's called play. Hey, I made it all the way to the bottom of the hill here. There's a bathroom in front of me. On the right-hand side, I've got map marker 15. That heads us to Asian Passage and the Panda Ridge, open till 5:30 today. But get your eyes up, and that's the Basher Bridge. The Basher Bridge is associated with the elevators that will take you down to Panda Ridge. And then even higher up there is the Skyfari. I'm telling you about these because I want your day here at the zoo to be easy and efficient as you get around. But get your eyes on the left-hand side. We're now looking for flamingos. This is the...
On your left.
This is what an ornithologist will tell you. That's a flamboyance of flamingos. There certainly is a lot of crazy terms for groups of birds, isn't there? Now what we have over there is the greater flamingo. That's the one common in the salt marshes of Africa. The one up in the front of the zoo is the American flamingo from the Caribbean. Now, all flamingos turn pink from the foods they eat. They turn that unusual shape upside down to the water. It becomes a filter for small things like algae and brine. Once a tiny little crustacean, they're loaded with a carotenoid pigment called beta-carotene. That's the thing that makes the carrot look orange, but we see it as pink for the feathers of these birds. But if they didn't get in their diet, they're going to fade to white. Much like a feather that falls off a pink flamingo, it doesn't stay pink. It's going to fade to white. Hey, the next habitat is one of my favorites here at the zoo. This is the white-breasted cormorant. Most birds have a lot of wax on their feathers, and they have hollowed bones, because that assists their flight. But that's not good for a cormorant, because it's a diving bird that goes underwater to chase after fish. So what we find in the cormorant is once it's done swimming, it actually has to dry off a little bit before it can attempt to fly. It's kind of the cost of living in two worlds when you're a cormorant. Hey, if you didn't know, we built our zoo here in a canyon, and I'm about to head up the wall of the canyon right about now. We have a Mediterranean climate in San Diego, and that's mild. That allows our horticulture team to recreate so much. But you know what? What I'm looking at here is I'm looking at sweet gum tree, redbud tree, longleaf pine tree. Oh, that's a reminder to me that we're heading up to the northern frontier. Let's go see if the polar bears are awake. But on our way up the hill, get your attention on the right. We're going to be looking for some striped ungulates from the African plain. That might be a zebra. That might be a kudu. Now, ungulate is a fancy term for a mammal that has a highly specialized digestive system that allows it to get all it can out of its herbivorous diet. To the left of my bus is the most dangerous habitat I know of in all of San Diego. That's Highway 163. If you take that north for 40 minutes, you find yourself at the other front door of our San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. That would be the Safari Park in Escondido. But we've got 18 times the amount of acreage that we have here in Balboa Park. That's for those, a lot more room for those beautiful ungulates like the zebra, the eland. That's the large tan one. On the other side of the wall, we've got the tiny little Sphinx gazelle. And the tan with white stripes, that's the one that we call the kudu. Now, another thing about the Safari Park is one of our conservation hubs is the southwestern United States. So we've actually set aside land of our Safari Park and left it for the plants and animals of Southern California. And we call that a habitat corridor. And so the zoo's doing our part with our land for conservation. So hopefully we get on up there to Escondido. All right, folks, this is one of my pre-planned stops. Now, when I pulled in, I looked for the polar bears. I didn't see one, but sometimes your view is better than mine. Now, it might seem strange to house polar bear here in sunny Southern California, but you know their natural habitat of the Arctic ice is being lost as our climate changes.
With bears?
Climate change is our global carbon cycle that's gotten out of equilibrium. You We've dug up a lot of stored carbon from underneath the earth, coal, oil, natural gas. We've used that to generate energy. Well, as an unintended consequence, I put a lot of carbon up into the atmosphere. We once thought that atmosphere stretched off to space, but we now understand it's a thin film trapping that carbon on the Earth's surface. Well, now that science and society understands how it all works, hopefully we can come up with a new way of generating energy. It's not carbon-based. We hope to have habitat for polar bear into the future. All right, folks, I got to rev up my engine to get up the hill. Do not be alarmed. Houston has us cleared to leave in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. It certainly is a pleasure of mine to get behind the microphone and tell these great conservation success stories. How the zoo's been involved. One of my favorite stories is the story of the Bontebok, this brown and white ungulate, was saved from extinction by its inability to jump over the farmer's fence. And now we've got the Bontebok here at the zoo. But the next habitat is the Visayan warty pig, and this is an interesting story. This is a highly endangered animal from the islands of the Philippines. I'm told there's only a few hundred of these left on the earth. So I'm really glad that San Diego Zoo has taken an active role in the conservation of the Visayan warty pig with its unusually long snout. Now in the next habitat we're looking at Gerenuk. A Gerenuk is a very loose translation of a giraffe neck. But a Gerenuk is a browser. That means it will only feed on the branches of trees and shrubs. Look at all the grazing grass that's been left behind in there. Hey, if you turn your head on a swivel, you might get a look of a polar bear on the left-hand side. Now on the right-hand side, looks like we've got a slumber party of the Chicoan peccary. This is a coarse-haired pig-like animal that was once only known from the fossil record. They thought it was extinct, and then they found a living population down in South America. They call that a Lazarus taxon. It's been raised from the dead. Well, we get to know the Chicoan peccary now here at the zoo, and I had a guest tell me all the males in that habitat, they must be given the name Gregory. Gregory peccary, that's a good one. Hey, there's our safari. That'll be opening up at 10 o'clock today, and that's going to carry you from the back of the zoo back to the front and leave you right by the Wildlife Explorers Base Camp, right by the exit. Make use of that. The safari is included in your admission. On the right-hand side, the 4D Theater will be opening up at 10 o'clock as well. If you don't know about 4D, you sit inside that theater, watch a short film, and get all of your senses tickled. That is a slight upcharge. Get your eagle eyes on the left-hand side. I'm going to roll my bus by this habitat of the mountain lion. Now, the mountain lion is a wide-ranging cat from the Americas. They could be found anywhere else from northern Canada all the way down to southern South America. So along the way, different cultures have given the cat a different name. Some might call it the cougar. Some might call it the puma. Some might say panther.
Up there in the tree.
Well, you know, down here in Southern California, we tend to call it the mountain lions right there, right next to the front of the bus up on the timbers there. Right there is the mountain lion, you know. I live in the mountains of Alpine, just past El Cajon on the 8. And we totally have mountain lion sightings out there, bro. Hey, that was my attempt at a California accent. If you didn't catch that, you've been listening to me on the mic for a while, wondering, well, where is this guy from? Well, now is when I get to tell you that I was raised in Minnesota. Minnesota, where everyone has a boat and a motor, don't you know? Well, that's quite a sight to have that mountain lion perched right up there, ready to pounce. I don't know if that's Sierra or Tahoe. We've got two of them. Two female mountain lions. Yes, indeed. All right, I better keep moving. I'm out of time tour, everybody. I'm going to roll by the habitat of the Maine wolf on the right here, see if you can find it. Maine wolf is a very elusive animal. And the reason it's elusive is the Maine wolf is...
Let's go, Mama, where are you? Okay, I get it. Why not here? Mama. And yes. Hey, but where are you, Jared? Where you go? to the zoo? And you like the zoo? What do you see at the zoo?
Everything.
Say hi, Toto. Say bye, Jared.